All right, y'all. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of In My Thoughts. I'm Jeff, and I want to go over a few things that's just been on my mind this week. I want to put a spotlight on a few things, namely, a couple things that's been more trending, the headline topics, and then just a couple things I saw and reviewed. One of the things I want to talk about is Monique and her son Shalon, as well as Robbie Montgomery, Jennifer Lopez, and Kelly Rowland in the film Mea Culpa, which streamed today on Netflix. I watched it while I was at work today. Want to get into the Monique situation. I know some years ago she talked about her estranged relationship with her son, Shalon, and I hadn't heard anything on their situation in a long time. And recently, when she did the Shannon Sharp podcast, Club Shay Shay, one of the questions that came up was a question about her son and their relationship, and she said it's still, very much estranged. And I didn't look at the whole interview, but I did get some insight that I hadn't heard from her, in previous years. I know she talks about her situation with Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey and all that. But she also shined light on some things that she hadn't talked about before and gave some new perspective. With regard to the pay inequities, as somebody that's not in the entertainment business but actually is in the working field, this is not a situation that only affects the entertainment field, especially those of color, but it affects people across the world in the working field. And the thing of it is when you work for somebody, if you're not somebody that's in high demand, then they're going to offer you what they think you're worth because they want to save it. They want to save as much money as possible. So they're going to offer you what they think you're worth. With that being said, a lot of us know our worth is more, but until we put ourselves in positions where we can demand that, it is what it is. And so, but with the situation with those two, he responded and he gave some insight from his perspective. And, he said he was only responding because she mentioned his name and things like that. And he basically called her out. A lot of people said he was clout chasing. Some people said he shouldn't have responded. He shouldn't have put their business out there. But, she did start it. My take is Monique put her business out there. She put her business out there about her son. She put her business out there about her brother molesting her. And she talks about her family a little bit. And I felt like if she could turn the camera on and tell her truth, then why can't he? And the husband, Sydney brought up his mental health status and things like that. When I watch his videos, and I think that maybe one or two would have been fine. I don't think he should have prolonged it or stretched it out, continuing to talk about the situation. One or two is fine, but I don't think I needed to see more than that. But what I will say about this young man is he's very articulate and very intelligent. And, as somebody that worked with mental health patients, not all of them are the same. Some of them with medication and therapy can function just as well as anybody else out here in the world and can coexist. And you may be talking to somebody every day that has mental health issues that don't even know it because they are able to function. And it seems like he's one of them. And so when people don't understand mental health and how that works and how it affects people and all those different things, you really shouldn't speak on these. You do your research. But I want to talk about, she did the comedy show with Cat Williams, and she talked about, seeing an 80-year-old woman at an airport, and she came up to her and said, my grandson said, watch this video and F that. And, I don't know if I believe that an 80-year-old woman, first of all, would be at the airport, but second of all, would approach Monique and say that her grandson called her and said, watch this video. I don't know anybody's grandchild that would call their grandmother and say, hey, watch this video. I don't know. And I'm not saying that it's not true, but it just seems far-fetched. But even still, a lot of people went against Monique for saying what she said. And one thing I know about comedians, when they're on that stage, I don't know if they believe I don't know if they, what she said, I guess if she'd have said it in an interview, I would have felt differently, but she said it on stage as a comedian, so I had to take her comedic side for it, and I don't know that I felt it was malicious or anything. Like, I just felt like she was just trying to be funny. But I probably wouldn't have said that, though, if I was her. I think that the relationship is so bad right now that if they're not going to make it right, just stop talking about each other, period, because we don't need to know the ins and outs of your relationship. I think that the chapter needs to be closed on that. And a lot of chapters of what Monique is saying, or what she's been saying for the last 15 years, needs to be closed. And there needs to be some healing. And it's time to move on, because you may not get a public apology from Tyler Perry. You may not get a public apology from Oprah. And the more you stretch it out, keep talking about them, the more harm, not to yourself, but it just don't seem like there's going to be an apology. And she also talks about Kevin Hart. She shed light on Kevin Hart because she said that she talked to Reverend Al Sharpton, as well as Kevin Hart, and they said they were going to reach out to Tyler Perry. And she says that Kevin reached out and, told her, hey, Tyler doesn't want to revisit this, but hey, let's move on. Forget about that. Let's do some things together. Whatever you need, I got you. And somehow that fell through. And one of the most honorable things Kevin did was, write a check to help out the family. But I think that when it's one thing to tell your truth, but it's also another thing to express private conversations in public. You compel people to not want to talk to you, deal with you, or say, tell you things for fear that you will tell the world. And so I think with the Kevin Hart thing, she probably shouldn't have brought that up publicly. I get where she was coming from, but there has to be a reason why why that deal fell through. And it could have been that, what she said, that his manager said he didn't want anything to do with her. It could have been a lot of pressure on him from Hollywood saying, hey, you do business with her, you're done, your career's done. It could have been all that. And for whatever reason, Kevin didn't want to say, hey, this is what's really going on. Hopefully one day that relationship is mended and those conversations are had. But what I would say in closing to this situation is that at some point, healing needs to happen. You need to heal. Hopefully these fences are mended. I'm not saying apologize to anybody, because I think that's out the window. But I think that at some point I would love to see a conversation between Monique and Tyler Perry, as well as Monique and Oprah, and Monique and her son, Shalon, and try to heal and mend these fences and move on, because it's still, I don't know. But moving on, I was at the gym the other day, and I decided to review Jennifer Lopez's new album, This Is Me Now. And that title sounds like a Mariah Carey title to an album that she did some years ago. And I reviewed the album throughout my workout, and as I listened to it, it sounded like This Is Me Then. It sounded like fillers. It sounded like rejected fillers to Jenny from the Block to me. The only two songs that really caught my attention was Rebound and Broken Like Me. Those two songs I thought were really good, but the rest of the songs just sounded like rejected fillers from Jenny from the Block. It just really didn't do it for me. The production was nice, the beats were great, but it was like a throwback to that time or the early 2000s. It didn't seem like anything refreshing. It didn't seem like she was bringing anything new to the table. And I kind of was wondering why you even put out an album. But I mean, do you? That's what you like to do. Do you? You like music? You haven't done an album in a while, that's fine. But some of the lyrical content was reminiscent of Jenny from the Block. And it's like, you talking about don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. That was many years ago. What you said, if you're saying This Is Me Now, then that can't be you now. You got to be somebody new, because you're older. You've been in the business for a long time. You're old money. You're not new money. So, quit trying to revert back to somebody you're no longer, somebody that you no longer are. While I was surfing iTunes, I came across Robbie Montgomery, who goes by Miss Robbie now. That's her stage name. And I noticed that she had a new song, and the new song's called Boss Lady. And I said, okay, let me hear this, because I've heard some of her old stuff, like What Would I Do? I like that song. It sounds like an old bluesy type song. And then she did Ain't My Stuff Good Enough. And I watched the video and I listened to the production. And the production is kind of weird, you know, to hear her voice against the background of younger voices. It didn't kind of mesh well. It sounded like they just took the production and just kind of threw that together. The song is cool, but I like the original version, Ain't My Stuff Good Enough. And I don't know what happened to that version that was on iTunes that I heard and why they took it out, but that's the version that I like, and I want to hear it again because it's a bluesy type version of that song. I didn't need an R&B type, but the song is cool. But anyway, I love the song. I think it's called Been Thinking About Cheating. I like that song. It's a bluesy type song. I like the production, but this Boss Lady song is very catchy, and I've been listening to it ever since the first time I heard it, which was probably yesterday. I've been listening to it over and over again, and really get into this song Boss Lady because it's well done. The production is nice. The hook is very catchy. She sounds good. I like the backgrounds and all that stuff. It's a really good song, especially for a woman who is in her 80s, you know, singing a song like that. Please get into this song. It's a really good song. And then lastly, I want to talk about Mea Culpa. Tyler Perry written, directed film starring Kelly Rowland and Trevante Rhoades. Trevante Rhoades, as you know, played in Bird Box as well as Moonlight. And I've seen Kelly Rowland once in a film. It was Freddy versus Jason, and she was part of the cast, but I've never seen her in nothing else. I know she's done other things, I just never seen it. So this is the first leading role that I've ever seen her in. And I do want to say that she looked really good in this movie. Like Kelly is a beautiful woman. She looks good. Her fashion is together and all that stuff. The way she moves in the film is really good. Trevante Rhoades is cool in the movie, you know. But there's some things about this film that just kind of was weird to me. One of the things is she made a comment to him. Well, you know, first of all, she plays a criminal defense attorney who has been commissioned by a criminal defense attorney, Mea Harper, who's been commissioned by, pursued and commissioned by Trevante Rhoades' character, Sire, to handle his case. He's been convicted of murder of his girlfriend, and she's you know, he's seeking counsel from her. Now, she makes a comment, you know, this is Chicago, you know, lawyers come a dime a dozen. Had she not said Chicago, I wouldn't have never thought that the location, and I highly doubt that film was filmed in Chicago. But had she not said Chicago, I wouldn't have thought anything of Chicago. There was nothing about that film that said Chicago to me at all. Nothing at all. Not the culture. You know, anybody that's been to Chicago, lived in Chicago, visited, there's a rich culture that you see that was not seen in this movie. And so Trevante Rhoades' character, Sire, is a painter. And so, you know, paintings have been bought by Mea's sister-in-law. Now, Mea has issues with her husband. He's lost his job due to a drug issue, and his family is not aware. He does not want his family to know. She doesn't tell his family. His mother is very overbearing. She says something to the effect that she has cancer, and he's a mama's boy, so he's like, you know, he leans towards her a lot. Then there's another brother who's an assistant district attorney. Now, the husband forbids her to take the case because the brother is the prosecuting district attorney on that, and she feels that it's a conflict of interest, and she wants to go to the judge, and the mother forbids her, and the brother forbids her. And because of that, she chooses to take the case anyway. Now, here's some of the things that I thought was kind of interesting about the film that I felt was not believable. I could be wrong, but I just felt wasn't believable. Now, they sit in front of the judge, and the brother says he will not recuse himself. Now, for me, I always thought recusing yourself, I know one recuses himself when there's a conflict of interest, but I don't see where there's a conflict of interest when you are the assistant district attorney prosecuting the case, and then your sister-in-law is a criminal defense attorney that's taking on the case with a law firm that has nothing to do with the state or the city of Chicago or whatever. Where I don't understand, there could be a potential for a conflict of interest, but I don't see if you all are true to your role in what you do, then I don't see where there would be a conflict. But that's another, I could be wrong. And so I would have liked to have seen more of the lawyer side of Kelly Rowland's character, Mea. I just seen where they were meeting up, but it really wasn't, it really went left to what the main purpose of them meeting up for was supposed to be, to handle the facts of the case and things like that. And she made a comment that he's on probation. Well, he's out on bail, so he shouldn't be smoking weed, and they can call him for a drug test at any time. My thing is, if there's no body, then how are you out on bail? I can understand being charged, but how do you have a case when there's no body? I don't get that. I don't understand it. Another thing, the movie was very slow. It was really slow. I had to pause it a few times. And it's like an hour in. I'm like, damn, it's another hour to go. Then I felt that this man was like trying to control her. Sayer was trying to control Mea. You're supposed to be a tough as nails lawyer, but this man's telling you what to do. He's talking to you like y'all already together. And you're telling him that you're not his friend and y'all need to be focused, but you can't even focus. And then you end up thinking that your husband cheated on you, and you left the man's house, you go back to the man's house, you have sex with him. Come to find out the next day that your mother was at the hotel and wasn't your husband cheating on you. But another thing I thought was interesting was the mother came over to the house and cooked dinner, and the husband said she had just came from chemo. I've known people that have had cancer and went to chemo treatments and left and was like drained. So I don't know how you were able to cook dinner and look like you look, but then again, it's a movie. I will say this. I thought Kelly Rowland did a decent job acting. I would love to see more of the lawyer side, more of the terminology, more of the confidence as a lawyer, but I didn't see none of that. And most of it, I'm pretty sure, has something to do with the writing and the dialogue. Some of the dialogue didn't make sense to me at all. But there was other scenes like, you know, Sayer took her to a bathhouse, and I'm like, okay, what kind of mess is this? And then somebody comes behind and say, you wanna fuck? Like, it's just none of this made sense. And then I knew something was wrong. Well, there were some good parts about it. I like the scene where they came to the mother's house, and the brother told the other brother that she slept around, and I like that scene. I thought that I really liked that scene. But when she was the Dominican Republic, it just looked cheap. When she was at the Dominican Republic, that looked very cheap to me. And she ran into the girl who was supposedly Sayer's girlfriend that got killed and everything like that. So she calls back to her sister-in-law, say, I need to talk to your brother, to your husband. She tells the husband that the girl's alive. And the husband's like, well, I'll send somebody there to check that out. Come on to the house. That's when I knew something was wrong, because the mother said, bitch, get out and all that. Don't come back. I don't want to see you no more. So why is he telling her to come to the house? None of that made sense to me. But, you know, to me, to be as good of a lawyer as you are, as tough as nails, you're supposed to be the best, but you're so naive. You go back, and then it turns out that your friend slept with this man, and there was a painting about her, so the husband wanted to frame him to and make it seem like the mother got cancer in order to run for mayor. It's just, all of this stuff was just really far-fetched. I thought the story could have been tighter than that. I don't think that you need to use your mother and say she has cancer to run for mayor. I don't think that you need to frame someone who's not a killer to become a mayor. And then again, I don't even understand how he ended up in jail, because that made no sense. There was never a body found. And so the film was supposed to be an erotic thriller. There was not really much erotic about it to me. Just, I don't know, could have been it. I would say cinematically, it was better than a Medea Homecoming and A Fall from Grace. Cinematically, it was done way better than those two films. So I will give kudos to Tyler Perry for that. But I thought the film was okay. I didn't think it was totally bad. I just thought that it was slow. The development took a long time, and not a bad movie. Just, it could have been better. I wish the writing was tighter. I would have loved to see more of the character development of Kelly Rowland's character, and even Trevante Rhoades' character, because there's things I want to know, like, why was the marriage so bad between you and your husband? What made him, as an anesthesiologist, lose his job due to drug use? Why did the mother dislike Mea? Why was the brother a dick? You know, all these different things. Why was Sayer, as a painter, that type of a person? What made him think that he could seduce this woman who was supposed to be his lawyer? There's a lot of things. And then how did, Ron Rico's character, who is I'm guessing he's a private investigator, how did you all's relationship come to be? Like, it's just a lot of things about the film that make sense. I would have loved to see more character development. I would have loved to see more build up. I would have loved, actually, I thought this was going to happen, but it didn't. I would have loved to see Kelly Rowland's character, Mea, go off on the mother at that house and talk about how her relationship with her son is very inappropriate, how it's put a wedge between their marriage, how, he lost his job, she was taking care of him. Why you think he's taking care of me, and all these different things. I just would have liked to have seen more. But that's just my take on there. You guys let me know what you thought. Please check out Miss Robbie's song, Boss Lady. It's a great song. But let me know what you guys thought. You have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.